We have decided to if you like, go slow on addressing the media so that we don't inflame passions and tensions that usually attend elections such as the one we've just gone through. But it seems to us that our silence is being taken advantage of by both the Electoral Commission and the New Patriotic Party to continue with the impunity they have been known for the past 8 years. The subject of today's presser has to do with what is happening at the police training school in Tesano. Some people call it re-collation, some people call it collation, and so on. But whatever name you call Rose remains an ass. It cannot be turned into a horse. We in the NDC believe that what is happening at the police training school amounts to illegality. It is not founded on any laws of our elections. Neither is it based on any consensus that has been reached between the parties and the Electoral Commission. And so we want to inform the nation and to give notice to any officials of the Commission and the police who are involved in the perpetration of that illegality to know that there could be consequences of their actions in future. We know the process of our elections is quite clear. After voting, votes are counted and the results entered on what we call the result declaration forms or the pink sheet, and the presiding officer at the post, after which all party agents sign, and then having the same figures simultaneously. Officials cannot perpetrate fraud during the elections. Now, after we all agree on the figures as mentioned, because if everything is right, all the figures must tally, because the pink sheets are filled in quadruplicate, duplicate, quintuplicate, or whatever the case may be, depending on the number of candidates. So everybody will have the same copy. So the moment figures change and you find parties holding different documents with different tallies of votes, then there is a big problem. And that problem cannot be pinned on a single political party, because the same way political parties are capable of perpetrating fraud, the Electoral Commission officers also are capable of perpetrating the same fraud. So you need to find a way of looking at it so that you can identify who did the wrong thing. But whatever happens, at the end of the collation at the constituency collation centers, the results are entered also onto the collation sheet and are signed and certified and pronounced upon by the returning officer. And in our elections, in our general elections, you have two categories of returning officers. The returning officer for parliamentary elections and the returning officer for presidential elections. And they alone have exclusive powers to pronounce the outcomes of the elections, and nobody else. That is why it takes the chairperson of the Electoral Commission, who is the designated returning officer for presidential elections, to pronounce on the presidential elections. No other person can pronounce on the presidential elections apart from the chairperson of the Electoral Commission. In much the same way, at the constituency level, the law mandates only the returning officer in the constituency to pronounce on the outcomes of the parliamentary elections in those respective constituencies. No other person. The chairperson in Accra of the Electoral Commission cannot pronounce the outcomes of the parliamentary elections in any constituency. The regional directors of the EC cannot pronounce on the outcome of constituency elections, even though they may be superior officers to the constituency returning officers. The district officers, if they are not designated as returning officers, cannot announce or declare the results of parliamentary elections. Because returning officers, while they are designated before the election, they are sworn in that they will speak the truth and then declare everything. So those returning officers who are being who are claiming that they have declared one set of results in the constituency, and now they are claiming before their bosses that they were they declared those resources under duress, so they are now going to declare another set of results. They know they may be on the wrong side of the law in future. And so what we are seeing in police training depot, we tried to find out what was happening there, because that meeting was called without any discussions with us as leadership of the National Democratic Congress. We're just here when we heard that our Electoral Commission and the police have decided that the outstanding, what they call outstanding constituencies, or constituencies where there appear to be some conflicts, they are inviting all of them to come and do collation and re-collation. For some of us, when we were asked by our officials in the constituencies, we told them plainly that we didn't have any notice about it and we are not involved. In fact, I advised some of them not to appear, because what is going to happen there has no basis in any of our electoral laws. Now, checking from the police about what was happening there, we were told that the Electoral Commission had informed or misinformed the police that the political parties have come together through consensus that we must establish this center at the police training school and then bring or we try to find out who are engaged in some illegality to go about their business. And this was what they told us. We have since told them that we are not part of it. We have never discussed any of these things with the Electoral Commission anywhere. And so we was monitoring whose result other than the returning officer. Yeah, in fact, it doesn't amount to redeclaration, because the person who was forced to declare artisanal is not the designated person who has power or authority to declare any results of Fantiakwa at all.
In fact, he was standing by when the returning officer declared.
So, and that person was standing by the returning officer in Begro when, and I'm not surprised, you know, it reminds me about your drama in Parliament. So, in anything that will escalate tensions. So we have proceeded to court and have applied to injunct the process that is going on there. And we hope we are putting the Electoral Commission and all other people involved in that illegality on notice that what they are doing amounts to an illegality. If they choose to proceed, then they will be ready for the consequences. The staff of the commission who are engaged in this illegality, there will be consequences for them in future. And let me also advise some other influential people in society. I hear that in some places, chiefs are involving themselves in this electoral process and putting pressure on commission officers not to proceed to do their work according to law. We are also advising Nananom that it is for very good reasons that the Constitution provides that Nananom should not be involved in active partisan politics. But if they choose to descend into the arena of controversy, then they know the consequences will be obvious. So we are advising Nananom to conduct themselves, as many of those who are involved should conduct themselves as chiefs of all the contestants and not to enter into this competitor. We treat you as competitor. If you present yourself as a contestant, the other contestants will treat you as such. And I don't think it will be good for us, because the provision in the Constitution barring chiefs from participating in this active politics has at least served our democracy that far. And so we are advising Nananom to take note of that and contribute their quota by way of peace building rather than entering the arena of controversy. Now, I heard my junior brother Afenyo Makin, who, having rejected the position of minority leader, is now on his way to becoming a micro-minority leader. Bragging that he belongs to a party of rule of law and all that. Who doesn't know about MPP? We in the National Democratic Congress don't need lectures from Afenyo Market. Any need for lectures in impunity, then we will invite him as our lecturer. But if it is about democracy, he must shut up. He should go back to his region and take stock of his parliamentary candidates who have been shooting and killing people, his party people who have been shooting and maiming people across the country. We are quiet not because we are going to sleep over this. We are sending notice that all this violence, right from 2016 to date, will be properly investigated, and our electoral system and democracy will be cleaned of these violent states. Immediately we take over. And so anybody who is thinking about abusing these three